Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are saying goodbye to the Tier 9 Soviet cruiser, the Donskoi, the Dmitri Donskoi. And I have to say, I do enjoy this cruiser. This cruiser is very fun to have, and yeah, it's I would say it's very similar to how you play Azal until you get to the Moskva, which is a completely different story. But honestly, it feels like what you were working up as far as like the stores, the Chapayev, and then you get to the Donskoy. They are all those long range cruisers firing HE, burning down everything. This cruiser does it a fantastic job with that, and essentially that's why the Megami got nerfed, because it was essentially what the Russian cruisers are very good for. Now, obviously, the Moskva is going to be very, very different, but we'll see her when we actually move on. But let's quickly look at stats. Survivability, you have 43,400. Armor is around 19 to 100, so she's still fairly light. She doesn't have that really wonderful bow armor that such as the Moskva has, so you still have to be extremely careful whenever showing any amount of broadside, and you can't ricochet shells as well as the Moskva, so you still have to kind of play that long range game whenever you're fighting. But she's still pretty potent, especially up close. Her guns reload not bad, not as high as the Moskva did, or not the Moskva, the Chapayev did. Reload time is 12.5 seconds. Turn time on the guns is 20.7 seconds. Max dispersion is 163 meters, which is fairly tight, especially at that close range. They are very, very tight. Maximum HE damage is 2,500 and 17 fire% chance. And oh, she loves to burn. It's very fun to be spamming HE, and I know I hate being on the receiving end, but when you're the one spamming it, it's very fun. Max AP damage is 4,400, so AP does a fairly good chunk. Now, there's no guarantee. Obviously, it's nothing like the American AP where it can penetrate through almost any bow armor, but any broadside, you can deal a significant amount of damage with your AP, and they are slightly bigger shells, obviously, than the Chapayev. They've yet to master the concept of using 203, but still pretty decent. Firing range is 20.6 kilometers, and obviously they're 4 turrets, 3 guns each, 180 millimeters. Your secondaries, you have 6 dual 100 meters. They have a 4-second reload time. Max HE damage is 1,400 with a 9% fire chance and a range of 6.3 kilometers. And they're not bad. It's not very often that you will actually be seeing these opening up. Like I said, most times you will be at that kind of longer range, firing at range, doing damage that way. So not too bad. Now we come on to the torpedoes, and the torpedoes have got a buff, and you use them. You really do use the Dmitri Donskoi's torpedoes when you are within that 8-kilometer range. Obviously, you have 2. You have 1 on port, 1 on starboard. You have 5 in each torpedo tube. 117-second reload, 6 seconds on the turn time. Max damage is 14,400. Range is 8 kilometers. 8 kilometers, going from, I believe, try to actually think what the Chapayev had. Let's actually quickly look at what the Chapayev had 4 kilometers. So you have double the range that the Chapayev had. They're not the fastest. They are 55 knots. So yeah, but one nice thing, since they are slower, a battleship or cruiser will probably not be expecting it as much, because you say you kill them and they're like, or sorry, say they kill you and you fired your torpedoes and they think the coast is clear, so they'll go ahead and turn and may run into your torpedoes, because they do take a little bit of time to actually reach target, which can go for your benefit. AA defense is not bad, especially if you run AA Madness. You can shoot down tier 9 planes fairly easily. You have 10 quad 25 millimeters with a range of 3.7 kilometers and 92 average damage. Then you have 6 quad 45 millimeters. Average damage is 136 with a range of 4.2 kilometers. And then your secondaries work as additional AA. Average damage is 129 with a firing range of 6 kilometers. Maneuverability, she is quick, as a lot of Russian cruisers are, and Russian destroyers for that part as well. 36 knots, quick in a straight line, kind of sucks at turning. Really likes to make those big wide turns. 760 meters on the turning circle radius. Rudder shift time is 8.4, which is not too bad, but it really does not handle turns very well. But usually these late tier cruisers don't turn that well. But Russian in particular, they like to go to a straight line and don't really like to turn. Now, detectability, my captain and my ship is full concealment. It's nice having that full concealment. Detectability range by sea is 12.3. You can fire your main guns and still have around 2.9 kilometers of invisifiring. And apparently they're actually getting rid of invisifiring. If you have not heard, they are completely getting rid of it. So now your guns will fire out to the max range, you will be detected at your max gun range, which kind of sucks because I understand the idea that, yes, having invisifiring can be extremely frustrating to combat against, especially if it's a destroyer such as the U.S. destroyers, which really kind of rely on that, since they don't have like the Haberdash's guns or be able to fire at that range. So they do have that invisifiring. Cruisers are kind of the exception, especially Zhao. Zhao is probably the worst defender, getting that detectability down to around 9 kilometers and having, I believe it's around 20-ish kilometers. Actually, I probably could look and tell you. Let's quickly hop over to my Zhao real quick, and I can point out why they're doing this. 15.8 after firing your main guns, and 18.8 kilometers. So you have around 3 kilometers, which obviously isn't that different from the Donskoi, because the Donskoi has 20.6 and the detectability is 17.7. So yeah, just 100 additional meters. So the Donskoi is kind of bad at it too. But then again, the armor on the Donskoi is quite terrible compared to the Zhao's, where the Zhao actually kind of has trollish armor sometimes. So yeah, that's going bye-bye. But as far as detection, she's not the stealthiest of ships. You will probably be detected fairly easy, more so compared to any of the other cruisers. Detectability range by air is 7.5 kilometers, which isn't honestly too bad. As far as modules, everything is usual. You could probably build her a little bit different. You could possibly actually go instead of the gunfire control system, you could possibly go for the main battery modification 3, which increases your load time. But honestly, I would say go for the gunfiring. Getting that additional range is going to be your friend, because without that additional 20%, you're going to be a little bit closer and a little bit easier to hit, because once again, the ship doesn't really like to turn that well. So I would probably say stick with the gunfire system, just so you have that additional range and you can fire longer at range and more likely to dodge shots. Now, my captain is almost a 19-point captain. I have, for the first one, preventive maintenance. I almost kind of want to go for priority target, just so I know someone is focused on me. Traverse speed, expert marksman was my second choice, then superintendent or demolition expert. I honestly would say probably go for demolition expert first, then concealment expert, and then with the additional points, I am probably gonna recommend adrenaline rush, just so you get that increased reload speed with losing health. Superintendent is very beneficial, so you can have that additional radar. And obviously, the last one I chose was Advanced Firing Training, which increases the range of my AA guns by 20%, as well as my secondary guns too. So, yes. Probably one thing I should obviously point out. Your radar has a range of 11.7 kilometers. It doesn't last as long as the American cruisers, but they have a much shorter range. So they have increased length of time, but shorter range. So you have increased range, but shorter time. So obviously, yeah, get that. That's very beneficial, especially against fighting destroyers or needing to see any possible attacks. Now I went with defensive AA just to boost my a little bit better, but it might be beneficial also having a hydroacoustics if you go for the reload on your guns instead of the range. Go for the hydroacoustic search because that will allow you to at least spot any nasty little destroyers that are firing torpedoes at you. But we are going to go ahead and jump into the replay with the Donskoi, and we are going to say goodbye to the Dmitri Donskoi and finally move on to the tier 10. So I will see you guys in the replay. See you there. Alright everyone, welcome back to a replay with the Donskoi. We are currently playing on loop. We have a Essex, Iowa, Amagi, Gneisenau, Donskoi, 2 Belfast, Z46, Udaloy, Kagero, Kiev, and a Mahan. On the enemy team there is a Essex, Vida de Grossa, Bismarck, Colorado, Neptune, Kutuzov, Atlanta, Fletcher, Udaloy, Kagero, Mahan, and Leningrad. So this is going to be a very destroyer heavy game, which is kind of unfortunate. It sometimes happens, and once again Holy Water Cow has made a appearance in one of my videos. He's a unknown superstar apparently. He keeps showing up in my videos every now and then. So I spawned on the far west hand side. Do have a friendly Kagero that is pushing into A with me, and I do also have a friendly Amagi that is south of us. Does take a little time for him to get going. So this Kagero is going to be a nice, helpful little destroyer and actually assist. Now, this is something I probably would not be highly recommending for the Donskoi to do, is pushing into the A cap, because although she may have only a 12.3 detection zone, she still can be easily detected by enemy destroyers, but fortunately it looks like the enemy destroyer is behind that island and is not going to pose much of a threat for us at this time and being. Now this Kagero is going to be very kind, and he's going to drop us a smoke whenever I do request it. This is going to prove beneficial. Now our team is pushing into B. We have at least 2 or 3 of our destroyers in at B. One destroyer, enemy destroyer, went over to C and has started capping it. We are at least able to prevent the enemy team from capping A. The Kagero on the enemy team does spot us. We do land a decent hit. The friendly Kagero has popped a smoke screen. Do slow up just a little bit, just so we can get guns on target. Now this Kagero is well within our radar. I do speed up just so I don't hit the friendly Kagero. We do know that at least the destroyer is in at A, and there's a smoke screen, so he's probably hiding in that smoke screen. Now fortunately for us, we don't have any enemy planes overhead, and the air detection is about 7.5 kilometers. Now the Donskoi and anyone that's going up the Russian destroyer or Russian cruiser line, enjoy the Donskoi's torpedoes, because once you get the Moskva, you will not have these, and they are very beneficial for this encounters such as this. We are detected by the enemy Leningrad. He sat kind of in a weird place. I probably would have sat more towards facing the island, just so in case something like this does happen, I can get my torpedoes off. Now his torpedoes are probably trying to swing around, but too little too late, and we take out the enemy Leningrad, which is very nice. We do unfortunately lose our Mahan, and I'm able to turn away with very little difficulty. Do get hit by the enemy Colorado, and we're just gonna pull away and get some distance between us and that Colorado. Now the Donskoi does definitely need that distance, because she does not have the armor or any benefit that the Moskva does provide with her bow. The Donskoi will get penetrated through the bow fairly easily, so you want to keep that distance, and you kind of want to play the Donskoi like a Zao. Essentially, it's a Russian version. It's why the Mogami is no longer the Mogami. Russians have taken over. Darn you Ruskies. I'm kidding. I like the I like the Donskoi, and I have no problem with any Russian. So, opening up salvo against the Colorado, and land decent hit, nothing too extravagant, and didn't get a fire, which is unfortunate. I'm gonna try to angle away to prevent him from fully penetrating, but fortunately for me, I'm able to escape it rather unharmed. We do land a fire on that Colorado, and we open up at the enemy Atlanta. But fortunately for him, he's actually reversing because he is super outclassed in this game. And we actually get another fire. I think the fire maybe on that Colorado, might have been on that Atlanta. But it doesn't look like this Bismarck is going to last very long. He is pushing quite heavily into B. He has 2 battleships he has to contest with, plus 2 destroyers. Actually, I think there's 3 battleships all focused on him right now. There is a enemy destroyer just right up north. I don't think I noticed him when I was playing this game. We have 2 Belfast going towards this enemy destroyer, which you would think they should be able to handle since they both have radar and hydroacoustics. Do obviously notice there are torpedoes incoming, but fortunately they drop off, so they're not going to pose a danger to us at all. Now the enemy Udaloy is pushing heavily south, trying to get after our carrier. The Z-46 is trying his best to assist, and the Fitte de Grasse on the enemy team was pushing in around that corner, but there was a smoke screen, so we're not able to open up on him. Now we are detected, and fortunately we do disappear. Does look like there are torpedoes going in towards that Fitte de Grasse, but it looks like he stopped in time and is able to prevent from being hit by torpedoes. Now the Atlanta is down. Didn't really think that Atlanta was going to survive for very much longer. We also lose our Kiev, which is unfortunate. So this battle is fairly close at the moment. We are ahead of 1 ship. They have majority of their destroyers still, while we have lost 2 of ours. They have lost a battleship and a cruiser, and this Mahan, even at this range, still gets hit by us. We do knock off his engine and do around 2,000 points of damage. Now the Fletcher is spotted due to my radar, so at least we know where the Fletcher was, and we also know where the enemy Neptune is. The enemy Neptune is right over there. I do switch over to armor piercing, and for anyone that's going up against a Neptune and anyone that's playing a Neptune, be aware of your citadel. Your citadel is very easy to be taken advantage. So be always aware where enemy ships are and that you're not going to be presenting a broadside. As this Neptune just experienced, a citadel does occur. And we took a hit. Trying to think actually from who. We land another citadel on the enemy Neptune. I believe it's actually the Mikhail Kutuzov that's firing at us. He's being a downright pest at the moment. And just gonna try to keep myself angled. No need to rush around the corners. Gotta be careful about the Neptune's torpedoes. And there's also a Fletcher, and I think there's also the Mahan that's still around. So there's plenty of potential torpedoes in the water. So I do have to play this smartly. Now the Kagero laid down smoke, but fortunately we are behind the island. Don't exactly know why he laid down smoke, but he did. Now we know where the Fletcher is. He is spotted by, I believe someone's using radar actually. I think we have a Belfast. Yes, we do. We have a Belfast right behind us. So he is spotting the enemy Neptune, Fletcher, Mahan, and Mikhail Kutuzov. The Mahan, the Mahan is trying to lay down a smokescreen for the Kutuzov, which is very, very beneficial for your teammate because that's one less smoke he has to worry about, as well as American smoke lasts longer. So we fired armor piercing. Our radar is up and ready, but I do have to keep in mind I can only get about maybe 2 or 3 salvos off before my radar goes off. Fire a salvo at the Kutuzov, take him out with 2 citadels, and the Mahan is left wide open. And let's see, can we get rid of him? We are being detected by, I believe, hydroacoustics. Believe that's the case, but we do take out the enemy Mahan as well, which is very, very nice. Now we are being detected, like I said, by, I believe, hydroacoustics, which was probably coming from that Neptune. Now, our radar just went off, and that means we are no longer able to detect that Neptune. So that means, don't know his exact location. Last time he was seen, he was moving east, which would prevent him from dropping torpedoes. But with us being detected, he could easily see where his torpedoes are going and come around the corner, showing broadside. One Citadel later and one dead Neptune. Now our team is definitely in the advantage at this time, and being we have taken out more of the ships, but they have a majority of their destroyers still around, while we've lost the majority of our destroyers plus a Belfast. So the Neptune is taken care of. All that's left on the enemy team is a Udaloy and a Kagero. Last time we saw the Udaloy, he was chasing our carrier. Poor carrier is essentially being left alone, which is unfortunate. And the Kagero was last seen over at A. Now, our team is all rushing over to C, and it's essentially stupid for me to rush over to C. The friendly team is going to cap it, no problem. We need someone that's actually closer to A, because more than likely, as is currently happening right now, A is being captured by the enemy destroyer. Now, the only battleship left on the enemy team is the Colorado, which we saw at the very beginning of the battle. And unfortunately for us, we just lost our CV. Now, this Udaloy is extremely out of position. He's nowhere in a good place to assist his team, albeit the Udaloy is a fast destroyer, don't get me wrong, but he's still severely out of position, and it's going to take him a little while just to get back. Now I am pushing over to A as quickly as possible to try to help take out this enemy destroyer and help take out this enemy Colorado. Now, fortunately for us, we do detect, I believe, the Fletcher. Let me take control of the camera. Yes, the Fletcher is detected, and he is being focused on by the battleships and the cruiser and the other destroyers, so he should be taken out fairly easily. And C should be captured here soon. Now I am detected, which must mean that the Kagero is within around 12 kilometers, so he should be able to be an easy hit. Now I do have to be careful of this Colorado. This Colorado is on full health, and even though I'm a tier 9 and he's a tier 7, he could easily kill me, and I am not going to allow that happen. Now, I do have a friendly destroyer over here to assist. It looks like the Colorado took a shot at us, but fortunately we ricocheted one of his shells, so that's not going to pose an issue. I go ahead and pop my radar, little bit preemptive, but fortunately for us, the friendly Kagero actually takes out the enemy Kagero, which is nice. Now, unfortunately for our friendly Kagero, his torpedoes were spotted, obviously, by the enemy Kagero, and this Colorado should be able to dodge these torpedoes fairly easily. And there's not really much that the enemy team can do. They can try to cap B, but we have such a point advantage at this time that it's highly unlikely that they'll be able to do anything different. Now, I'm trying to get myself turned around, trying to actually get south a little bit, and we see a spotter craft, which must mean the Colorado is actually very nearby. Now, fortunately, the Donskoi's AA is pretty decent, so we were able to just shoot that down. Now, I'm trying to get into a position where I can actually drop off my torpedoes, and I believe the Kagero is being a team player, so high praise to you, Kagero. High praise to you. He does lay down smoke for us once again, but there's not much that's going to be left in this battle because we have essentially won due to point advantage. So let's go ahead and jump into the victory screen. So our team earned a victory. We brought home 290,845 silver, 2,558 XP, and 128 free XP. We earned first blood. We did around 65,361 points of damage, 66 shell hits, 1 plane shot down, 3 incapacitation, 4 kills, 6 fires, 5 citadels, 2 defended base caps, 1 assisted base capture, and 10 secondary hits. We earned 1,624 base XP. We did around 18,000 against the enemy Neptune, around 13,000 against the Leningrad, around 13,000 against the Kutuzov, and around 6,000 against the enemy Mahan, which is pretty decent. After everything was said and done, we brought 130,920 silver, which is pretty decent, I guess. Now, the Donskoi, my thoughts on it, it's a great ship. I really do enjoy it. It's quite a bit different from the Chapayev, at least from what you experience, at least with the Stors and the Chapayev. You have those very fast reloading guns, so you really just pump out HE. But with the Donskoi, it's a little bit different. You're a little bit more sluggish in the water. You're a little bit more tankier. You still have very potent HE, and your armor piercing is actually a little bit better because they're actually using a much larger caliber on the shell size than the previous Chapayev and Stors. So it is nice to have that additional AP and additional tankiness, plus the additional AA is very beneficial. But really, it's kind of a way to get you groomed for the Moskva. The Moskva is a entirely different kettle of fish, and I don't know why I just used that, but it's an entirely different ship, and the Donskoi is trying to teach you what and how you will be playing as you get the next tier. So I enjoy the Donskoi. I've had very fantastic battles with her, and I'm kind of going to miss her, but I'm definitely looking forward to the Moskva. So this is actually going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Jen.